Oh, I'm going to talk to everyone. Huliandel? Though I have read much on the subject of Radzat-Han, this visit shall be my first. It will be interesting to see how the Hanish mean to contend with the tower, different as their magical and technological disciplines are. Estinian? So it's back to Thelnir. Had I known earlier, I would have considered more suitable attire. Uh-oh, yeah. I'm not going to talk to Thancred, because he will give the quest anyway. Y'shtola. The process by which forum members are elected is fair and equitable. Neither wealth nor social standing offers any advantages to a prospective candidate. But fairly elected or not, Master Matoya still found them all to be insufferable. I see. Afno. If the forum is intent on concealing its intentions, then a cursory investigation will avail us little, I suspect. We will need to dig deeper and with the greatest of care. Alizé. I still don't understand how the vote could be unanimous. What could possibly convince them all to turn their backs on Eorzea? Sharlayans? So, can I take both of these quests at the same time, I wonder? What do you say? Up. I have Kryle's instructions in hand. If you're ready to set out, then so are we. Having been to Thelnir before, I can travel by Aetheryte, but what of the rest of you? Another sea voyage would waste time we do not have. Kryle was of the same mind, and has already secured the aid of the good folk of the Confluence. We will take ourselves there. Uh-oh. What? The Confluence, thou sayest? I'm afraid so, my friend. What is happening, Huliandel? Is this connected to Moonbreeder? I knew it! Thou wilt recall the hunt for Iceheart, unto whose sanctuary we delivered thee owing to the knowledge of our comrade, Moonbreeder. Moonbreeder was an authority on etherology, a field of study she did embark upon in pursuit of her parents' example. Both are authorities in their own right, and both are researchers at the Confluence. Ah. Haven't you gone to see them yet? I attempted to do so earlier, but to my shame, my courage failed me at the last. As it hath the many times I thought to reach out to them after sending that fateful letter. Neither time nor introspection have revealed unto me the words I should speak, and thus have I kept my silence. Whether you come with us or no is your choice, and yours alone. If it's too difficult, we'll manage. Thou art kind to say so, but I have no intention of forsaking our cause. I shall go to the Confluence, and I shall face that which hath long been overdue. If it's settled, then let us be off. When we arrive, we should look for a researcher named Kit? Kite? Kit, probably. Are we leaving already? Kryle's quest? I will take that as well, by the way. Hitting the books. Kryle is intent on uncovering the reason behind the form's inexplicable behavior. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Noumenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, And you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods, you say. We were supposed to go inside. This is actually the library that we saw in the trailer.
Oh my goodness, look down.
I know! So we have books here. We need to read books in Noumenon on the relevant subjects. What?
The cute mammoth!
What? Where are you? Goodness gracious me! Hello! We apologize for the inconvenience, but the reference desk is currently experiencing an unusually high volume of requests. Please stand by until this issue is resolved.
Yeah, this is the login service right now.
Exactly. Oh, you're cute. So I am going to go
By the way, we are judging books by their covers.
Are we?
Brightly colored book.
Brightly colored book. Red covered book.
Yeah.
What is this? The title on the spine reads The Story of Sharlayan. Read the book? Yes. Am I seriously going to read it? How am I holding that? Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there lived a Rogadin man by the name of Nunkreps. Nunkreps was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. This is a calamity, by the way. He foresaw the calamity. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nincompoop's... No. He's the father of Sharlayan. No. We don't disrespect him like this. Nincompoop's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nincompoop wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalathia's spine.
Well,
refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed.
Well, if you insist on calling him whatever his name is, you deserve to suffer.
Saddened by the sight, Nincompoop gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned his ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Do you know which ark he's talking about? This Nincompoop's ark that he built.
Okay.
Remember in Grabania there's a huge ship on top of a mountain. We actually went there with Lise.
There's literally no...
Yes. The title on the spine reads, Roads of Old, the Colony. Read the book. Well, I have to. Many years ago, on the banks of the Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. This is talking about Edelshire, by the way. Yeah. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idyllshire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idyllshire. The book does not appear to contain additional information on the forum or cover the history of the Sharlayan motherland in great detail. Oh, this is just a book about Idyllshire. Alright. Stewards of Wisdom. Yes, let's read this book. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Nunkrep, oh god, he's again here, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of man brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: "Renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason." The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that, no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge deliver the world. This is a Sharlayan book, yes. Forever 20 Summer. This is not about Sharlayan. I can tell already. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19, or 23, or 40. Whatever age you are, when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethereological, and arcane viewpoint. This book is on the wrong subject. You don't say! Search the works which contains mentions Sharlayan. Okay. I hope it's the last one because I really... What is this? An Introduction to the Heavens. This might be an astrology book. Let's read. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain, in satisfactory detail, why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was these technologists of Alag who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamut and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? That their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly, but measurably, as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is on the wrong subject.
Wait a minute. Do you want to know more? Get that
do you want to know more? Yeah. This should be the one.
Fast.
The voice of a growing city. Definitely Sharlayan. Okay. Let's read. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolution. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. You have gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the forum. Head outside to the rendezvous point and await your companions. Oh, cutscene time, I suppose. Anyone to talk to? No, it's just a waiting destination thingy. Flick. Is it a voiced scene or not? My babies are coming. Is it voiced?
No.
Okay. Sorry, were you waiting long? Not really, I read like 7 books, but it's okay. I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon's text mentioned the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read and ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. Oh, Alize. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that, even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not allowed across the threshold. Oh, when are we beating the shit out of Farshanal? Because he's making my children upset.
He's the last boss of the expansion.
Oh. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day. I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family? Or do they not live here in the city? Oh, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away, because you're from the G tribe and you're born in Isambard, aren't you? In the southern reaches of Isambard. I know, because G tribe lives in Isambard. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thevenair. The Elegants founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the 4th Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the 5th Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Ammonius, When I was a boy, many years ago. Okay, when I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family. The nobles of House Darnus. Really? I know that name. I know that family. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in elegant civilization. Oh, we are well aware of that. And so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the elegant eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and a decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child, born with the elegant eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldassian, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered... Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Luzua, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity. God, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon.
Perspicacity.
Oh, his ear wiggles. It's exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear! Another good reason to get to the bottom of the forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Thanks, Alizé. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Alia. More company should be arriving any moment now. Well, you were talking to each other and ignoring me already, so just go ahead. Like, go. I am non-existent! To my family! There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events, if I can find anything to better inform the forum's baffling behavior. Raha, what are you saying? What else do I know of Corvus? Precious little, I'm afraid. I have not returned since Master Gulluf first brought me here. I can tell you that Corvusi rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets! Flying carpets! The legends are quite extraordinary! I see, and he went back to reading. I need to find the destination. Hello. Will there be another cutscene? I suppose so. Hello, my other child and Kryl. We have returned with our selections. Though I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I don't know. I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarot firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. Sure, ask me. Ask me. My thanks. Now, where to begin? I don't know. Where do you want to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? A complete destabilization of creation magics? Primals of unrivaled power were summoned from the ether? Nah, the worst kind of phenomena you can imagine. This is the one that I don't remember the answer kind of thing, but I'm going to go with the first because it's the correct one. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable emanations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? The entire star was engulfed by disaster all at once. They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Or, Alphino, you can answer this one. No. No, we don't do that. We know the answer. It's the second one. They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Yeah, should be this one at least. Ah yes, the Amartines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, and not even Amarot was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I will have to speak with one of the Noumenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? Sacrificing their population and summoning Zodiark?
Yeah.
They summoned Zodiark! They summoned Hydaelyn after Zodiark.
They knocked
to
Dalamut
keep
from the sky tower.
Dalamut was not
yet.
even existing back then. They summoned Zodiark. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart. So many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Life sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Vena and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Have I told them that I spoke with Mom?
No.
I haven't, have I?
Nope.
Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We have seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by the unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return to our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but this time we began studying these research papers. Am I going to read again? Ah, no. Many forum members are also researchers or professors. If they know aught of the final days, then that knowledge might surface in their writing. That is my hope anyway. Where's Kryl? It's really comforting to have all these dedicated assistants on hand. Right then, enough chatting, more reading! And now it's time for Y'shtola to speak. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon's texts produced 1 or 2 possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source reflections from the Garen oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Global Library. It's even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Farsional with knowledge of the Telephoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. I didn't like this look at my face. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Ah! My character's reaction says it all. Like, what? What are we doing?
Will you make me read more?
You labor for what feels like an age as Ishtola's research assistant. Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for myself. That's not going to happen. Trial? Oh dear, you look exhausted. Yeah, a little bit. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? I did actually. There were 3. Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a memo at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Well, I did find one paper focused on the world before the advent of the First Umbral Calamity, but it reads more like a work of fanciful fiction than an actual academic supposition. You say, okay. Graha! Oh, he is reading, isn't he? Your efforts to gain Graha's attention go unnoticed.
You got ignored. He put you on the ignore list.
He literally ignored me. Alizé appears in desperate need of a study break. Oh, me too, Alizé, let's go walk. Ready for a tea break, Elia? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good.
How do you stretch your legs as a Lali-ho?
What do you mean?
They're so short.
Yeah? They are stretching shortly? Alizé. As busy as ever, I see. How very Sharlayan that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telephoroi. You might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Come, Alizé. We need to ask questions. Huliandel, I think. Hello. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you are looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telephoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear and... Wait, you're that house Leveilleur girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I had heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge with their barbaric whims. And here you are giving truth to the rumor. Oh god. Everyone knows this? I'll thank you to leave me be. I have naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. It was foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Alia. This is not going very well.
Nope.
Who else are we going to question? Hello. Hello, my lady. Yes? I don't believe I had the pleasure. No, you haven't. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telephoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness! If it isn't the young Miss Livia! My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunal that I was helping you... I see. We are sorry to have bothered you. Aw. Dickon. Rather unfortunate name you have there, sir. Welcome, madam. What can I offer you today? Coffee? Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea. But then, you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? Aww, my girl is upset. It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is, House Levea. No matter how discreet Master Fortunal might have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? We have questions, and only Sharlayan has the answers. Sorry. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What? Like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Sharlayan, aren't you? Yes. Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. Oh. Okay, now I think I need to pay attention to this. What we are doing. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting on at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them you should see a Mikote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. I think I memorized it, sort of. Hello. Hello.
This was the tea set, right?
This should be the tea set, yes. Hello. Please take this. Oh, my tea set, lovely, thank you. Oh, no problem, my dear. The Telofo... Who? I'm sorry, I have never heard of them, or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I would be happy to talk your ear off. No, run! Now, there was this...
On the left here. Gisla.
Gisla, he wants an omelette.
Yes.
There we go. Finally! 2, 4, 6, 8! Let's dig in, no time to waste! What? That is a huge omelette.
Now I'm hungry.
What? The Telephoroi? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest gazette. Oh. Really? That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. Why will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. You're all going to die, you're aware of that, right? Anyway, the Mikote gentleman. Hello. Sir, you want the lobster? There you go. Wow, that's big. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. I better look at this way. The final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. What?
What's a gleaner?
I have no idea.
Oh.
He explains. You don't know what a gleaner is? They are collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan. Priceless books, unusual live specimen and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telephoroi make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Alize, I think I learned something. Alize, we need to go to the harbor.
Oh no, there's a huge Namaz next to us.
And his name is Oymeric. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Yes, I did actually. Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the forum does have secret knowledge, then they have done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, the cup of coffee I promised. Are we not going to drink it on a cutscene? But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight. Hey, cutscene with my girl. Hey, look at her. Aww. They look like Starbucks cups.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Aw. She's still so sad. Well, of course she would be sad, but...
It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt.
Oh, my girl is dead.
And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently.
Well, that's an achievement for you to fume silently, I would say.
It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
I wouldn't be so sure, girl. Are they carrying crystals, I wonder? My first concern is them being crystals inside.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
Labyrinthos? Well, what is Labyrinthos, precious? I say.
A vast complex beneath the island.
Mm-hmm.
Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well,
Dungeon.
that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility.
Can we go there, please? With the weird music of
Still,
its...
that did seem to be an unusually large shipment.
Uh-huh.
When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat.
Alize is suspecting something.
Didn't you hear something in the Last Stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual?
Yes, I heard something like that,
I
Alize.
think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the forum. If the appearance
Naruto
of
Village
Buffalo
Leaf?
prompted this sudden
I have
burst
no
of
idea, I
activity,
never watched
then
Naruto.
Labyrinthos may
That
hold a
leaf
clue as to
actually
what the
reminds me
forum is planning.
of the Aetherite crystal.
Oh, it's the
Sorry.
Nautilus thingy. Again, their image
Yep.
is always that. Alize, give me a quest, girl. A labyrinthine descent. Oh. We should tell the others what we have learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Noumenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. Yeah, you take the cups back. I will go to our friends. Oh, finally! Is that coffee I smell? Did I miss the tea break? Yes! I even poked you! Jesus. Alpino? Where's Alize? I thought she was with you. She went to give the cups.
No, she didn't.
Ishtola? My loyal assistant returns! There's a lexicon on the first floor that I need you to... you found something, haven't you? Did you want me to go and grab a book? Oops. Welcome back, Alia.
Richard.
Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not cleared our heads, actually. Not exactly. Alize is giving, you know, voice to my thoughts. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. Let me explain this to you guys. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo. It certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As Ishtola observed earlier, Noumenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Alia and Alize learned at the Last Stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telephoroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we are lucky, the gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. A fine idea? What should we expect down there? Anything would be better than burying my head in another dusty book. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm a scholar. What should we expect down there? Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be great help. Thank you, Raha. I would rather you came with us, but okay. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. Okay. Show me the entrance. Watch your step in Labyrinthos. It's rather more perilous than a simple storehouse, although that will likely make the experience all the more attractive to an adventurer like you.